Each week, Arapahoe Park in CANTER, Colorado, an organization that finds homes for horses after they finish their racing careers, profiles a horse in his new career. And in this segment, Beyond the Finish Line today, I'm joined by Kristi Radosevich with Run to the Border, who's had an amazing career racing and an amazing career after racing. Now, racing, he raced 6 years from 2002 until 2008. Tell us a little bit about his racing career.
Well, you know, Jonathan, he raced in Kentucky and Texas and Louisiana, and he also was out in California, and he raced 45 times and won over $250,000 or thereabouts. And I have a picture of him when he was on the racetrack from 2003, and he was trained by Paul Murphy most of the time, from the time he was about a yearling until he was 6. So he was very, very successful, and in fact, his niece is Rachel Alexandra. So with his breeding, he has some very successful relatives in the racing world, including his sire, who is El Prado, and his grandsire, who is Sadler's Wells.
So he had an amazing career. He goes until he's 9 years old, and you have another picture that shows us the contrast of what he started doing after you got Run to the Border in 2009. What are we looking at, and how did you come to get Run to the Border?
Well, I came to get Border because I have a friend of mine who had thoroughbred racehorses, and she was following his career as a racehorse. And when he retired, she made sure that he went from California, where he retired, to Wyoming, where she was living, and then she didn't have time to ride him, so she sent him to me. And so then I started training him for eventing, and he converted to an event horse overnight. And so this photo shows us eventing. This was our first preliminary event in Utah, and this was about 2 years after I got him, so it would be about 2011.
And then how did he progress from when you got him until what he does now? And we're watching him from the Colorado's Most Wanted Thoroughbred competition in March, where he was a finalist. At 16 years old, still doing amazing things.
He is. He's really amazing. Well, you know, he raced until he was 9, so that's a really long racing career in the first place. And then he came to me at 10 years old. He converted overnight to an event horse because he is very competitive and he loves to work. And so, you know, as soon as he figured out that we were jumping, he actually hunted the jumps. And so he really loved that aspect. He wasn't as keen on the dressage at first, but he has become very good at dressage. And you know, eventing is dressage, cross-country jumping, and then show jumping. And so he has done very well converting to a new career. And then we did have 2.5 years off before we went to Colorado's Most Wanted Thoroughbred contest. And now he was 16, like you mentioned there, and still doing really well because he still loves to work. He's a typical thoroughbred that way.
I'll take the photos, and I'm going to give you this, which is the passport.
Right.
What is the passport?
So when Border and I moved up the levels, we went from novice to training level to preliminary, and then we actually started competing at the 1-star level. And so when you compete at the FEI 1-star level, the horses have to have a passport, and this is granted through the international organization, the FEI. And so for Border, when we would go to the FEI events, I would need to give this to the veterinarians so that they could identify him. And so there are identifications in the passport for the horse, and also their bloodlines. And then we have to keep track of also all of their vaccinations that the veterinarians then look at to make sure that they meet the vaccination requirements for FEI events.
It is really amazing to see sort of the behind the scenes, not just of the racing side, but of the eventing side as well. How would you characterize the transformation from a racehorse to eventer? Is it easy? Are horses pretty smart and get it right away? How would you describe that? Because it is quite a different career.
It's a very different career. So some horses will take to eventing a little bit quicker than others. And Border, you can see here, he really loves jumping. And so, like I said, some horses will really key into the jumps and really enjoy it, and they'll just take you to the jumps. Other horses, maybe they're more tending towards dressage, and they love to do flat work. And other horses, you know, it just sort of depends on their personality. With Border, he's very versatile, so he liked all 3 phases, and in fact, we go out and do trail riding as well.
And I guess the bottom line is, Border's a great horse. He's done amazing things. Do you think I could ride Border?
You know what, I think you can, and I would love for you to come on a trail ride with us, because I think he understands different people, so he knows when I'm riding him, we might be going jumping. He would really love to take you out on a trail ride, so that would be fantastic.
And so that's amazing, the horses that you do see at Arapahoe Park, they can end up becoming quite amazing animals as well, accomplishing things beyond just the racing and just being good horses for people like me who announce to potentially ride. Thank you, Kristi, for joining us, for introducing us to Run to the Border. Congratulations on all the past success with the horse and all the future success too.
Thank you, Jonathan.
And that's our show. Thank you for joining us. Kristi Radosevich, Jonathan Horowitz. Until your next time out at the races, keep picking winners.